Before I start, I want to tell you, there is no human being or group of human beings on the face of this planet that could ever instill fear in me. I've had a loaded gun put to my head. I've had my own gun put to my head by someone before, and it didn't put fear in me. But there is one person who I'm afraid of, and that's God.
On a night meant for peace, 22-year-old John Villareal was busy orchestrating a nightmare. Here, he is seen calmly describing how he ended the lives of James Dobson and Mary Fowler in the early morning of December 24, 2014. Investigators have seen many confessions, but this one was different. Villareal didn't speak with regret. He spoke with a haunting arrogance. It was this disturbing pride that led authorities to realize they weren't just dealing with a double homicide, they were dealing with a predator who savored every moment of the tragedy.
And I put bullets into people who I don't know a thing about. I have no cause to even hurt them.
John's silence was a wall, but his voice was a void. When he finally begins to talk, the detectives are struck by the complete lack of emotion in his delivery. It's a voice stripped to humanity, recounting a brutal Christmas Eve massacre with the same indifference you'd use to check a grocery list. This flatline response is what haunts the agents the most. It's the realization that the man sitting across from them isn't just a killer. He's someone for whom life has no value to Mayor.
Here's the thing. When you get what's called a fight or flight reflex, the blood flow to your frontal lobe of your brain cuts off, which means it takes out your ability to make rational decisions about consequences in the future. Okay? That's basic psychology right there. And that's exactly what happened.
John's psyche is a labyrinth of fractures, and deep inside those cracks, something far more sinister is waiting to be found. The mask is starting to slip, and what's underneath is more disturbing than the crime itself. This is the moment the interrogation turns from a search for facts into a descent into a nightmare.
What I'm going to tell you is going to make your jaw drop, probably.
It was supposed to be a simple act of holiday spirit. James Dobson and Mary Fowler saw a young man in need on the side of I-85 and offered him a seat in their car. They couldn't have known they were picking up John Asher Villareal, a man consumed by the persona of Jack the Killer. Villareal claimed he was on a rescue mission, but the only thing he brought was destruction. After a brief drive, he forced the car to the shoulder and opened fire. Mary was killed where she sat. James was left to die on the roadside. When he was finally cornered by authorities, his interrogation revealed a mind so fractured that his reality was indistinguishable from a nightmare.
Well, John, or Jack, I'm sorry. We got to go through this advisory.
Yes. Okay. Yes, we do.
Because we had a break in all this, and we'll make sure that everything's good.
Well, we might as well start over. Because what I'm going to tell you is going to make your jaw drop, probably.
Initially, John was a wall of silence, meeting every question with a flat denial. Recognizing his state of mind, the detective stepped back, placing him in a holding cell to let the weight of his actions settle in. It was a calculated move that paid off. Hours later, John signaled for the guards, ready to talk on his own terms. What followed wasn't just a confession. It was a disturbing dive into his fractured reality that left the interrogation team genuinely stunned by the darkness they had just uncovered.
All right, are we in audio records?
Yes, sir.
Good. I want a copy of it sent to my family, too. I'm not here for a question and answer session. I'm here to tell you what happened.
Wow.
Before I start, I want to tell you, there is no human being or group of human beings on the face of this planet that could ever instill fear in me. I've had a loaded gun put to my head. I've had my own gun put to my head by someone before, and it didn't put fear in me. But there is one person who I'm afraid of, and that's God. I can't stand before him in Judgment Day to deny something I did. And I don't give a damn about a lawyer, because no lawyer can make it right before God. Let's go back. Let's go back to the night before Christmas Eve. I get a message from Karina telling me that her stepdad has been beating her, etc. And so immediately I jumped and I said, I asked her, I said, if I could steal a car and come down there right now and get you out of there and get you somewhere safe, I said, would you do it? And she said yes. I can't hold her accountable for that. She's still a minor. So I packed my gear and I put on a rain suit, got on my bike, went over to a little abandoned house that I use as a safe house.
What kind of gear?
Dry clothes, guns, and I won't lie either. Every single one of those suppressors I built by hand. No lathe. I simply know how they work, therefore I built them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a muffler on a moped. Same difference. And I will tell you that it makes full power ammo out of the pistol sound like a staple gun. Okay, no one's going to hear it. And I know that that's a federal crime, 10 years in prison, etc. I understand that. Now, oh good, he can hear this too.
John claimed he was on a mission to save a girl he'd met online. That was his reason for James and Mary's car being his target. But the detectives saw right through the story to the man beneath. John was too calm, too composed. He spoke with the terrifying detachment of a narcissist, a man who had convinced himself he was the hero of a story that ended in a bloodbath. There was no shaking in his voice and no tears in his eyes as he began to describe the killings. Instead, he dove straight into the gruesome reality of that night, treating the details of the crime like simple footnotes in his twisted rescue mission.
Anyway, so you packed your gear, you get
Packed up, went over there. First thing I did, I didn't want to hurt anybody originally. I'm not that kind of guy.
I can see that.
And the first thing I did, I tried to find a car to hotwire. Because to be honest with you, I didn't want to have to hurt anyone, and frankly, I would have rather bring it back when I was done. And unfortunately, my mechanical genius isn't quite to that level. So the next thing I figured was, well, I could hitchhike and then try to commandeer the car. You know, hold him at gunpoint, tell him get out. Still didn't want to hurt him. They were rolling along, down Fletcher Street, in fact, when I came across them. Had my pack on my back, my rain suit still on, cap on my head. And I asked him if they could take me to I-85. He said, not a chance. Then he changed his mind and said, do you have some gas money? I said, you know, how much do you want? $5. I said, okay, $5.
Who was in the car?
The man and the woman.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know their names, don't really care, but I hope he survives, to be honest with you. I hope that since that day. Let me continue though. And I got in that car, we started going, and they were as nice as anything. And then the man offered to take me to the Georgia line. Said he had the time to do it. Said he'd do it for $25 in gas money. Reasonable enough. As we were driving down the road, I got to a point where I was ready to try to commandeer the car. And you know what? I told him I had to take a leak. Asked him to pull over. Classic move. I never suspected it. You know what? In the moment, I presumed the man was armed. As a result, I didn't try to commandeer the car, but I assumed, okay? I didn't even give him a chance to show a gun. I put one round right in the woman's head. Then I put 3 rounds right in his neck because I was trying to hit the head, but I was trying to shoot too quick because I wanted to get it done. Mm-hmm. Didn't really want to shoot him, didn't really want to do it, and I did it.
John tried to play the victim card, telling detectives he thought James had a gun. It's a classic move called projective defense, where a killer tries to justify murder by calling it self-defense. It's a mix of delusion and cowardice, a way to keep control of the story while avoiding the truth of what he did. He wasn't protecting himself, he was hunting. As the detectives pushed past his lies, they realized this self-defense story was just a tiny piece of the puzzle. The deeper they went, the more they saw the true nature of the predator hiding behind the excuses.
You're sitting here directly in front of me, head rests in between. Well, first thing you do is tell yourself, don't think about it, don't feel. Because you can't do it if you think. Because you know it's wrong. And you take aim, perfect aim, boom. One in the head with her. She slumps over. Before the man can react, I screwed over quick. Boom. I missed. I hit his neck. And the problem was, I twitched basically. I got rushed. So I hit twice more in the neck instead of once in the head, which is what I was trying to do once I had hit him. And I want that man's family and the woman's family to know I'm sorry for what I did and that I can never fix that or repay it.
Well,
anyway, let me continue, please. So then I went over to the Love's station down the road on I-85, cleaned up the car a bit, because it was messy. Cut the seatbelts out because I couldn't get the blood off them. That's why the seatbelt clips were stuck into the things. I put that so it wouldn't beep while I was driving. Bought some gas, a couple of road maps, continued on my way. I raced all the way down to Fitzgerald, Georgia, going about 80 to 90 miles an hour the whole way. And whenever I took a back road, just flicked down to running lights so I could use the markers on the road instead of being seen. I've never done that before. And as I was driving, I can't tell you how bad I felt for having shot someone who, frankly, not only did me no wrong, but actually did me a favor. I got down there. I pulled in to Karina's place at noon, right on the minute, because I purposely timed it with the clock on my GPS. I pulled in, and first thing I did, she came out, I told her to get her stuff and get in the car because we were leaving. I thought that was okay to do because, in South Carolina, it's ages 17 you can leave home. Didn't realize in Georgia it's 18. You know, her mom comes out, tells me to get out. I should have just left. Instead, I started up a whole argument with her. She calls the sheriff on me. I argued with him for a while. Tried to tell him what the law was instead of listening to him about it, which was pretty stupid. Anyway, eventually he took down, he actually pulled his taser on me because I was getting so argumentative. He finally put it away when I finally cooperated. I can't blame him for doing that. I mean, he didn't know that I wasn't going to try to pop him. He didn't know I didn't have a weapon in my hand or anything like that.
Did you think about it?
No, because he's a cop. His dash cam's right there. Would have been on record. And frankly, I already had blood on my hands. I really didn't want more. And after I got done with the sheriff down there, and he took down my ID information and stuff, and I told Karina that I'd be back on the 20th, because then she'd be 18, it'd be legal. Wouldn't be having a problem with the law at that point. Not that I wasn't already. And then I left, and I drove straight back to that safe house, and in the process got myself a speeding ticket for going about 90 miles an hour in 45 zone. My lead foot didn't get to me. I don't have a lead foot. I have a precise foot the same way as if I ride a moped or motorcycle. I know exactly what I'm doing at all times.
To John, James and Mary were just obstacles in his twisted rescue. But as the FBI looked closer, they found a detail that made their blood run cold. John had already been caught by a cop, and he had walked away. Was it just a massive stroke of luck, or was John more calculated than anyone gave him credit for? The detectives were about to find out exactly how he slipped away, and the truth was nothing short of a nightmare.
Weekend went by. Over the weekend, Karina's mom started making plans to either send her off to Mexico or put her in a psych hospital. That's true, that happened. That's not mine to intervene, and I should have contacted authorities if anything. But once again, got into that mode where you think that you're the outlaw lawman, that you can do whatever you want as long as no one sees you. God sees everything. And so I told her that I'd be down there Tuesday night at midnight. The reason I packed up all those guns, by the way, you ever find that Versa Thunder 380?
What's that?
Under the driver's seat. I wanted to look there. Now you'll look there, you'll find it. That's my personal defense weapon. I use hollow cavity bullets for a reason. Makes an impact like a 45 12-inch penetration at 10 feet. Tested on ballistic gel and meat. Anyway, so now you know there were 4 guns, not 3. Okay? Had all my stuff locked, cocked, ready to rock as you found. Because frankly, I expected that when I got down to Karina's place again, I expected someone to pull a gun on me. Okay? And I expected at that point to go ahead and just whack everybody in there and try not to think about it. You still think about it. You still don't want to do it. I'm glad I didn't do it, because then I'd have 3 more bodies on me. 2's too many.
Were you going to whack Karina too?
No.
Oh.
I was trying to get her out. I was trying to rescue her.
Well, you said 3 bodies. That's what I was trying to.
Mother, stepfather, and older brother.
Okay.
The 3 adults. The 3 people who would actually be a threat to me if I tried to do an extraction. Okay? In terms of pulling somebody out, it's called a wet extraction because it's bloody. Alright?
Just when the detectives thought they had heard the worst, John threw another punch. He was planning a second attack, and this one was going to be bigger. Shaken by his twisted reasoning, the investigators realized they were sitting across from a man who had completely severed his ties to humanity. But the most unsettling part wasn't the carnage he promised. It was the calm, methodical way he defended it. John had a reason for everything, and in his world of shadows, even a second massacre was perfectly justified.
I didn't want to be a killer. The only people I ever wanted dead were child, stuff like that. Okay, because of what they do. Drug dealers. Because of what they do, they ruin lives. Okay, 2 people, from what I read in the paper, the one guy's an out-of-work electrician. My gosh, he's already got it bad enough.
What about the 380 shell casing in the car?
Was a 380 shell case in the car? Don't know, because I didn't fire a 380. Because once I realized that I had hit him in the neck, I realized he might survive, and I kept praying. And I kept praying for forgiveness. And the thing is, the Lord can't give forgiveness if you don't tell the truth. If you lie about it, you're going to hell.
Were you going to tell Ryan about it this morning?
I wasn't going to, and I couldn't.
Because it's been eating you up inside.
It does. You kill someone who didn't try to hurt you first, and it does.
I figured that's why you were at Ryan's this morning. You needed an outlet.
Yeah.
Well, what made you shoot him rather than just take the car out and go for him?
Because I thought he might have a weapon, and I assumed, like I said.
Yeah.
And in my head for the moment, okay, here's the thing. When you get what's called a fight or flight reflex, the blood flow to your frontal lobe of your brain cuts off, which means it takes out your ability to make rational decisions about consequences in the future. Okay? That's basic psychology right there. And that's exactly what happened. Okay? Because in that moment, you don't really think about it. Okay? You don't really keep a level head necessarily if you're not used to commandeering vehicles and stuff like that. I mean, that's the first time I've ever done that.
Yeah.
And so I just said to myself, I said, you know what? I said, I can't take the risk that he's got a gun. And you know what? I wish I had just pointed the gun and told him get out and taken that chance, because he'd still be okay and she'd still be okay. And
Yeah.
I wish I'd never done any of it, frankly. I joined them for a reason. It's because I believe in truth. I believe in absolute justice. I believe in balance. Okay? I believe in cops who aren't corrupt, who don't take bribes. I believe in people who obey the law, who work a job. I believe in keeping drug dealers and stuff off the streets. Okay? And then I go out there and I put bullets into people who I don't know a thing about. I have no cause to even hurt them.
Did they say anything?
As far as what? Other than just friendly general conversation and whatnot?
When you shot her, did he say anything?
I shot him before he could say anything. I'm not slow with a gun.
The evidence is absolute, and the confession is on tape, but the why remains a disturbing mystery. While John's guilt is clear, detectives find themselves wondering if he was the sole architect of this nightmare, or if external influences had manipulated his reality along the way. They are left to grapple with the possibility that his transition from a 22-year-old from South Carolina to a cold-blooded killer was a path paved by forces far more sinister than they have yet uncovered.
To save someone from some gangsters or something. That's what I told him. So I lied there too. I did that over the weekend because I needed gas money for the trip on Monday. It was $100 that I borrowed.
It didn't take long for detectives to confirm that John was the sole architect of the tragedy, yet they remained haunted by the missed opportunities to prevent it. In the days following his arrest, investigators conducted a digital autopsy of his life. uncovering a trail of disturbing online messages and dark fantasies that mirrored his real-world violence. His Jack the Killer persona wasn't just a screen name. It was a psychological escape that blurred the line between fantasy and reality. This case serves as a grim testament to the lethal intersection of mental illness, obsession, and unchecked online radicalization. Nearly 3 years later, on August 10, 2017, the fantasy finally ended. John Villareal stood in a South Carolina courtroom, no longer a digital vigilante, but a convicted killer. For the life he took and the life he shattered, he was sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus an additional 65 years.